I'm Jesse Waters. 3 days until Election Day, and President Trump's still on the campaign trail, rallying the crowd right now in Pensacola, Florida. Let's listen in.
He'd be 50 pounds lighter. And the one thing they knew, it was going to be a painful, painful evening. Evander, the real deal. One of the greatest in history, in my opinion. Thank you. Great, Evander. Thank you very much. Evander Holyfield. And we're also thrilled to be joined by a Florida football legend who truly knows how to win. He won them all. And if he had a great place kicker, he could have even won a couple of more. Right? Bobby will be the first to tell you. Bobby Bowden is an incredible man and an incredible coach and a great leader. Bobby. He looks good. A lot of teams would like to have him right now, right? Come on, say something. Come here, Bobby. That's right. Thank you, buddy. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Gosh, what a great crowd. You know what I was thinking a while ago? The most powerful man in the world, the most powerful position in the world is the President of the United States. Also, like some of the other folks tonight, I want you to keep your eye on Ron DeSantis as we vote this year. I think he'll do a great job, you know what? And then also our former governor, Rick Scott. Look at them good, because I know he wants them, okay? You know, I came to Florida State in 1963 as an assistant coach. And you know where my recruiting area was? Right here, baby. Right here. And we got some great ball players from Pensacola, Florida. You know. And
all right, that was President Trump and legendary Florida State college football coach Bobby Bowden saying some things down there at the rally in the Sunshine State. The commander-in-chief in the middle of a huge campaign blitz, making a major push for Republicans before voters head to the polls on Tuesday. Here with reaction, senior advisor to the Trump 2020 campaign, Katrina Pearson, and former White House communications director and the author of Trump, the Blue-Collar President, Anthony Scaramucci, who is wearing a white collar. I think that was a wardrobe malfunction.
No, it's the closest that the president ever got to a blue collar is a shirt like this. But
okay, anyway,
it's a great title, though.
Anyway, looking very sharp. So the president down there in Florida, and I have to say, he has really left it all out on the field if we're going to go with the sports analogies. And Bobby Bowden, rally after rally after rally, and they have history against him. They have a special counsel. They have a media against him. If they do not win the House, it's not for a lack of trying and effort on the president's part, Anthony.
Oh, I agree with that, and there's a former hedge fund manager that I know named Robert Rodano who had the polling right in 2016 is calling for the Republicans to keep the House. So we'll have to see what happens, but he thinks that the way these polls are done today, there's a little bit of the Bradley effect where people are not going to tell you that they're voting for the Republicans, but in fact they are, and then they're not really administered right in terms of the anonymity of the polling. So let's see what happens. But there are people out there that think that they're going to keep the House, and so that would be big.
So your hedge fund buddy, the guy that nailed it in 2016, is saying the same analytics hold true right now.
Correct.
Is that there's a silent majority out there who don't necessarily talk to pollsters and that don't express their love for Donald Trump that vociferously, but when they get behind the ballot box, the secret ballot, they're going to crank that lever. Katrina, would you agree with that?
Oh, I absolutely agree.
So you're saying they're
Anthony's
keeping
right.
the House?
I think there's a very good chance that they could keep the House. As you mentioned, the historical context, we have record number of retirements. Everything is against the party this time. But aside from the people who aren't possibly telling the pollsters exactly what they think. There are so many people all across this country. I've been out there, Jesse. They're telling me, you know, I wasn't on board for President Trump at first, but man, he's doing a good job. There's going to be new supporters for Donald Trump out there.
So you're saying he's adding new voters from the last time around?
He's absolutely
Is that
adding new
because,
voters.
do you think, of the economy? Is that because they've warmed personally to his style? What do you attribute that to? Because you've been out there. I'm holed up in the studio all day. I don't go out in the fields anymore.
I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest with you. I think, you know, this whole Russia hoax, people see that there's been a huge injustice to this family, not just the president himself. They see innocent bystanders, people that just took the job, that are, you know, publicly assassinated, their characters, their livelihoods. And people at home are seeing this and they don't like it. And they see the president is doing a great job with the economy, his platform, keeping his promises. People aren't used to politicians keeping their promises and fighting back, even against their own party when necessary.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's been the victim of a huge injustice when you think about Spygate and all the things like the media that they throw at him, and the Kavanaugh situation reinvigorated that injustice that was served upon that man. Let's listen again to the president, who's back behind the lectern. Hear what he has to say.
And by the way, you have a very good attorney general right now. You know that, right? Pam. Is Pam great? You like Pam, right, Ash? Okay, then I like you, Ashley. Good luck. I hear you're doing well. Good luck. Very important position. Your next Agriculture Commissioner, Matt Caldwell. Matt, thank you. Great, Matt. Thank you. Florida CFO, Jimmy Patronis. Good luck, Jimmy. Good job. Good job, fellas. And congressmen that helped me so much. They're always with us. They're always fighting for us, and they win. They know how to win, like Bobby. They know how to win. Neil Dunn and Matt Gaetz. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks, Neil. Thanks, Matt. Great people. So if you don't want to be saying Speaker Pelosi for the next 2 years, vote for Neil and Matt. I hear they're doing pretty well. But never assume, please go out and vote. They've heard that before in this business, right? They're doing well. We don't have to go out and vote. You have that, and then you have suppression, where they suppress the polls. You don't bother to go out and vote. But that didn't happen with us 2 years ago, did it? Huh? That didn't happen. One of the most exciting days in political history, but honestly, one of the highest rated nights in the history of television. A lot of good things happened, but most importantly, what we did is we won, and we won for incredible people in this country, incredible people. They got what they wanted, and we are producing, and we did it together. I didn't do it. We all did it together. This Tuesday, the people of Florida are going to head to the polls to elect an incredible new senator. As your governor, Rick Scott, cut your taxes massively by billions of dollars. Think of it.
Okay, there's President Trump touting Rick Scott, the governor right now, who's running against, I think, what's this guy, the Democrat Nelson, that comes up every 6 years. He wants to be senator again, and then you don't hear from him another 6 years. And that's a tight race. That's dead even. But, Anthony, I wanted to ask you, you know, the president's closing message seems to be beating the immigration drum. But, you know, he's got the Kavanaugh bounce. He has, ISIS has been annihilated. But the economy, this economy is white hot right now. Wage growth is at record highs. There's great paying jobs out there, and we're going to see 3% GDP for the year. Is the economy what's kind of keeping the blue wave at bay, in your opinion?
Well, I think the economy does do that, but I think what the president's worried about is that there's some complacency with all of that good news and prosperity. One of the reasons why presidents lose midterm elections is that complacent voters don't go out and vote, Jesse. It's angry voters that are not in power that rush out to vote, and that's why he's pressing on all of these hot buttons in the last 5 or 6 days, because he wants to get that base back out there. And if you look at the early voting totals,
yeah, it's big, right?
It's off the chart. So he's obviously doing something that's very, very effective. And I don't remember President Obama barnstorming like this or George W. Bush barnstorming like this. And so it's a new strategy. People 50 years from now are going to study what he's doing, and politicians have to change their playbook because of Donald Trump.
I remember Barack Obama staying away from certain campaigns
and a
and
Rose
races.
Garden strategy more than this kind of a strategy.
No, this president is definitely out there in the mud. Speaking of Florida, we have this governor's race, DeSantis and Gillum, and some explosive sting video was released by James O'Keefe at Project Veritas. One of Gillum, the Democrat candidate's staffers, I don't know how high level or not, was caught on tape really saying some nasty things about the voters of Florida. Let's listen.
You have the extreme right-wingers. Those are the Trump and the crazy Republicans. The progressives are the crazy Democrat.
Isn't Gillum a progressive?
Gillum is a progressive.
So Gillum is part of the crazy crazies?
He's part of the crazy. This is a bad state.
Okay.
It's a cracker state.
Okay.
Okay? Ask anybody outside of here, you go Port St. Lucie, Orlando, man, them crackers ain't gonna let us do that. No, you crazy?
All right, so this Democratic campaign staffer, he got canned pretty fast because that's unacceptable to be disparaging your own citizens in your own state like that. It's kind of a pattern, Katrina, of Democrats pretending like they're moderate, pretending like they're open-minded, and then behind the scenes trashing people in a very vitriolic way. Are they going to be able to get away with that?
Well, I think we're going to find out, Jesse, but this is exactly the pattern and how socialists and progressives have taken over your parents' and grandparents' Democrat Party. You had staffers from multiple campaigns uncovered by this group who were talking about how they have to lie to the electorate to get their votes. And in the case in Florida, this wasn't just a paid campaign staffer. This is a man who went to college with Gillum and knew him prior to joining the campaign, who calls the white people in the state crackers and admits that they have to lie to them. They have to cover up their support for gun control in order to get people on board, admitted to capitalizing on white guilt to get the support. So my question, as a biracial American, half my family is white, my question to white Democrats is, have you even thought what this looks like for you 10 to 20 years down the line?
Right. It's also, you have Missouri Senator Claire McCaskill, you have John Tester in Montana, and then Sinema in Arizona. It's these red state Senate Democrat or candidates that are trying to move to the middle, but they're really not like that deep down because they get back to Washington and they vote for crying Chuck.
But they're also responding to the president. They can't deal with him, and so they're lurching back and forth between identity politics, race baiting, calling other people racist. One of the points of my book is that he stole their blue-collar base, and he moved it over to the Republican Party. How did he do that? They would be way smarter, Jesse, if they said, whoa, he did that, let's fix that. But they're not willing to admit the mistake that they made over the last 30 years of abandoning what was their core constituency. And now that core constituency is showing up at those rallies, and they'll call them xenophobic, they'll call them nationalistic, they'll call them deplorable. It's not helping them. And so I don't know why they're doing it, but they're getting caught on tape more than once.
So the blue-collar base, as you write about and as you were just mentioning, are they going to come out again like they did in 2016 for this president? I know he's not necessarily on the ballot, but these were the people that were inspired by the trade commentary. These are the people that were inspired by immigration. Are those people in the Rust Belt or even in Florida, are they going to come out and vote Republican?
I do think they're going to vote Republican, Jesse, because as we mentioned earlier, the president is now talking about immigration out there in all these rallies because he, unlike previous candidates, have had a bold agenda, a wide variety of things that he promised to the people. The economy's doing great. He's making progress on trade. And now we have to fix immigration in this country. And that's why he's out there campaigning on it. That was the #1 issue during the 2016 campaign. He needs to hold the Senate and keep the House to move forward.
You think he attracted these people in 2016 and he's now successfully held them and they're now his base and he's not going to let them go?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you agree with that?
Not only agree with it, I've been at
They're not up for grabs?
I've been doing a lot of campaigning. I was out in Suffolk County with John Laval 2 nights ago. You have union leaders that are sitting there with Republican Party officials voting for Donald J. Trump.
All right. All right, well, blue-collar president. We got a blue-collar millionaire.
Is it a good
over here.
Is it a good inscription? Or
Yes,
no?
I like the inscription. I'm going to read the inscription here.
Yeah.
This is what it says.
Yeah,
okay?
it's very important.
And I'm not making this up.
It's Waters' world, and it's your world. I'm just living in it, so go ahead.
It says, Jesse, my hero and the American dream. My love, Anthony Scaramucci. Anthony,
Come on, that's better than
Thank
Christmas.
you very much.
That's
I
better than
appreciate
Christmas
that.
for you, Jess.
All right,
Come
how's
on.
that? Thank you, guys. Katrina, thank you.
Thanks, Jesse.
All right, coming up next, Sarah Carter back from Guatemala and the migrant caravan, a Waters World weekend exclusive with the truth from the ground down there.
And did you see where Homeland Security, they were saying, how do you know? How do you know? Right. There's some bad hombres in that group. So they came out with a list of 300 really bad ones. Really bad ones. They're in there. And now they have worse caravans, actually. Worse caravans being formed. It's terrible. The Democrats only believe in defending the borders of foreign countries.
Bad hombres, that's how President Trump describes some members of the migrant caravan. But if you listen to the mainstream media, they're all angels fleeing cartel violence. So what is the truth? Joining me now, Fox News contributor and fellow at the Independent Women's Forum, Sarah Carter, who was recently in Guatemala covering the caravan. All right, Sarah, so, you've heard the media describe these people as, good people, women and children. Was that your understanding when you were seeing them face to face?
Unfortunately, no. I mean, there were women and children at the front end. I was in Guatemala. I was there for the second wave that was coming across the Honduran border. So I was right there in a town called Chiquimula, right on the Honduran border, as they were moving across. And they put the women and children's lives actually in danger. What these organizers of the caravan would do would put maybe 100 to 200 women and children, some disabled, some elderly, at the front of the group. And then the rest of the group, and this is what I saw with my own eyes, were men. I mean, there were roughly 1,400 to 1,500 men behind them. They would start pushing against the women and children. The Guatemalan government was telling them, please turn around, go back. You will not be allowed into the United States. But as in Europe, Central America has a process by which if you have papers,
right,
you can cross through the border system. So they didn't want the women and children to be harmed, so they processed the women and children through.
So it's literally women and children first, but not in a good way.
Not in a good way at all.
And so the men are really taking advantage and using the women and children as kind of the tip of the spear. So
That's absolutely right,
okay,
Jesse.
So
absolutely right.
You talked about, the organizers of the caravan. Did you get any information on that?
Well, according to the intelligence officers that I spoke to on the ground, now I was with Guatemalan intelligence as well as other intelligence officials on the ground, they were informed that a lot of the leftist groups in Honduras, in El Salvador, were organizing these caravans. And it appeared to me to be very highly organized because, one, I speak Spanish, I know what's going on. There were people within the group that were kind of guiding the other men in the group. Now,
but what was the purpose of the left-wing groups in Central America for organizing the caravan north?
Well, they have multiple reasons. One, they want to divide the governments, conservative governments of Guatemala or Honduras from the United States. They want to cause a ruckus.
That makes total. So it's about domestic politics and causing mass mayhem down there internally in order to maybe overturn some
Exactly. Exactly.
Is the president speaking about the caravan? Let's listen to the president of the United States who's down in Florida talking about this issue.
Gotta come in legally, folks. You can't come in that way. And by the way, caravan after caravan, and we pay these countries where they're formed, Honduras and all of them, we pay them hundreds of millions of dollars. They do nothing for us. They do nothing. They do nothing for us. They had a new one just formed in El Salvador. We pay them a lot. We pay them all hundreds of millions of dollars. They do nothing. And did you see? Mexico's trying, they are trying, and their military and their police stood guard, and the level of viciousness with the rocks being thrown in their face, their military was hurt, their police, their law enforcement. They were hurt. We don't put up with it. We don't put up with it. We don't want that in our country. We're not going to have it in our country. They broke through. Think of it. They broke through the Mexican military and the Mexican police. They broke through.
Okay, so the president, Sarah, talking about, we've all seen the images of this, of these young men throwing rocks and bloodying up Mexican law enforcement officials. It seems like kind of a rowdy crew down there. It doesn't look like the kind of people that you want to say, oh, yes, come on into the country, as they're throwing elbows and rocks at Mexican law enforcement. When you were talking to people down there, what was the criminal element like, approximately?
I did see visibly MS-13 members within the group that I was with. A lot of them were very demanding. They said, we're going there, we're going to get jobs. They were also talking badly about President Trump. They were saying, if he doesn't give us jobs, you know, we're coming into the country and we're going to demand our rights. And I said, well, what would it take for you to return home? I mean, you're coming to the United States.
Where have I heard that before? It sounds like I've heard that here in the United States.
Well, it's our loopholes, Jesse. I mean, look, we have so many loopholes in our system, and they know it. And they play these loopholes, whether it's family units, which we've seen over a 40% increase this year in family units. They know how to play this game, and they're also being taught. So once they get into Mexico, and once they start moving through Mexico, believe me, the drug cartels are watching this, as well as the smugglers.
Of course.
They know this game.
They wouldn't get there without safe passage from the drug cartels, and then they got lawyers down there coaching them on what to say. What the left doesn't understand, though, is once, if you're a Central American and you come in with some family member, who knows if they're actually a family member, they're a minor.
That's right.
You have to stay. They have to let them here in America until their asylum case is heard. And I'm thinking to myself, you guys want to take that risk? You don't know who these people are? You got to vet them at a port of entry like every other person that comes. But for some reason, they don't want to get vetted when they're in the Texas border. I got to go, Sarah.
Right. That's under the Ninth Circuit, and this is the reason why.
Another loophole. Another loophole. We got to close them up. We got to close the border and the loophole. Sarah, great reporting down there. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, next. Maxine Waters in charge of Wall Street? That and other nightmare scenarios if the Democrats take over the House, up next.
On election night, there's only one place to be.
America's election headquarters.
In this critical moment, the balance of power up for grabs. Everything is at stake, and only one news team brings America the coverage they trust.
This election is special because power in Washington hangs in the balance.
It is a battle to the finish. Both sides want control.
Every result, every perspective, on a night that could change the political course of the country. No one does election coverage like Fox News Channel.
Live from America's News headquarters, I'm Ebony K. Williams. Tallahassee police are saying that this man, 40-year-old Scott Paul Beerley, posed as a customer at a yoga studio and then started shooting people without warning. 2 women were killed and at least 5 others were injured. Beerley then turned the gun on himself. Now, police are still investigating a possible motive for the deadly attack. About 100 people gathering in what they are calling a healing service outside of the Pittsburgh synagogue, where 11 people were killed a week ago. The 45-minute event featured prayers, songs, and poetry. 6 other people were injured in the October 27th rampage. It's considered one of the deadliest attacks on Jewish people in U.S. history. Suspect Robert Bowers pleaded not guilty on Thursday to federal hate crime charge.
The midterms right around the corner, a blue wave may be creeping up, and there's a possibility the Democrats might take control of the House. Here to react, Republican Congressman from Wisconsin, Sean Duffy. All right, Congressman, I heard some sound from your friend Maxine Waters, no relation to myself, and it terrified everybody, especially some people in the business community. Let's listen to what she had to say.
I will be the first African American, the first woman to chair the powerful Financial Services Committee. That's all of Wall Street. That's all the insurance companies. That's all the banks.
Maxine Waters is going to be in charge of policing Wall Street. And you say what?
She is no Jesse Waters, Jesse. Listen, I don't care about her race. I care that she's a socialist. I mean, the Financial Services Committee, we're the plumbing of free enterprise. I mean, we're what makes the economy work. This is capital markets, banks, and insurance. And she's a radical leftist, so she'll be the first socialist to actually chair this committee. And they want more rules, they want more regulations. Some, even Elizabeth Warren, said we shouldn't have banks do banking. We should have the post office, the government.
Oh boy,
do
yeah, because the post
banking.
office does such a great job delivering mail.
Yeah, right.
You know, the Wall Street fat cats are going to have to grease her big time. They're going to have to send that socialist Maxine so much money to stay out of their business that, I don't know, she's just going to be overflowing. Also, what they want to do, if they take the House, they're going to reinvestigate Kavanaugh and possibly impeach Kavanaugh. What would that look like?
So Jerry Nadler, the head of, who would be the new chair of the Judiciary Committee, he says, I want to impeach Judge Kavanaugh. They all want to impeach Donald Trump.
Right.
So listen, what this is really about, Jesse, is our free enterprise system with Donald Trump and the House Republicans. We fought to give more power to the American people,
right,
giving them power and control over their money and their lives and their jobs and their businesses. Democrats see this winning, and because they're socialists, they go, no, we got to stop the winning. We want to re-empower Washington, and so to do that, they have to distract Donald Trump. They try to destroy Donald Trump, and if they do that and can stop the winning for the American people, they hope that they can win in 2020. This is what this is all about.
It's true. I mean, you just had 4.2 GDP growth, and you had 3.5 GDP growth, and the Democrats are saying, wait, whoa. Let's slow this thing down here. This economy's getting too good. We got to pump the brakes. All right. You mentioned, I think they want to go after the president's taxes. Now, as you know, the president has not released his taxes. I don't think he ever is going to release his taxes. If the Democrats do take the House back, can they subpoena President Donald Trump's taxes?
They can try, and I think the IRS can try to stop them, but no doubt they'll go down this road. But just for your viewers, the president doesn't have to release his taxes. Now, many presidents in the past have released their taxes, but Donald Trump didn't, and he's not required to.
Right.
So this is, again, a tactic to distract. But
and it's going to take up so much attention, and they're going to throw subpoenas everywhere, and they're not going to be able to get anything done, and the media is going to cover it. Taxes, Trump taxes, he's fighting releasing his taxes. It's just gamesmanship. Do you think if they do retake the House, that the American people are just going to get sick of all the games? Because if you look at the Democrat platform, it looks like all games.
Well, it is. And they'll stop us from giving additional tax cuts to middle-class Americans.
Right.
They'll stop us from securing the border. And by the way, we had a vote in the House, Jesse. You're talking about the caravan coming north the last couple segments. We had a vote in the House that said you have to be an American citizen to vote in an American election. All Republicans voted for that. Virtually all Democrats voted against actually having only Americans vote in American elections. Either voted no or they voted president.
Slow down for a second. Democrats in the House voted against a bill that said only Americans can vote in an American election?
In American elections.
There were no Democrats that voted with you guys.
They voted no. There was a handful of Democrats that voted yes, but a majority of them voted no or voted present because they're fundamentally opposed to Americans voting in American elections because they've sold out to the open borders radical left.
I thought they don't like foreign interference in elections.
Yeah, so did I. But
I mean, isn't that what that's about?
If you have foreign interference that helps them, Jesse, they love it.
I know.
So if you're an immigrant who's illegal that'll vote for a Democrat,
the southern border. I know. You mentioned immigration, wall funding. Is that just completely off the table if the Democrats take the House back?
Absolutely. So what's happened is Republicans in the House, we passed border funding bills that's going to the Senate because of the funky rules over there. You need Democrats to vote for it, so we've been a few votes shy. But if we pick up seats in the Senate and we keep the House, we're going to get the border wall built. But if Democrats take control, that's absolutely off the table.
Last question. I only have 30 seconds left, Congressman. If the Democrats do take the House, can you, in a lame duck session, jam through wall funding while you have about a month and a half in between the new Congress?
Well, we can try, but again, we have to get that through the Senate, and there's still 9 Senate Democrats that would stop us there.
Right.
So, but if we pick up seats and keep the House, and that's a real possibility, we can actually get this done. It's not a foregone conclusion, Jesse. We can still win. It's in the hands of the American people.
No, I agree. Everyone's saying
no to the radical left.
I agree. We're not going to know until Tuesday night. It's all still
Let's
up in the air.
keep winning, Jesse.
That's right. That's right. We're not sick of it yet. Thank you, Congressman.
We're not sick. Thank you.
All right. Coming up, two political analysts on whether the blue wave is actually real. Right back with that.
There's been a lot of talk lately about lowering the temperature of political discourse. Have you seen evidence of that?
Well, I think when we win, you will see evidence of that. Because when we do win, we will have, as we open the new Congress, we will honor the vows of our founders, e pluribus unum, from many ones. Well, it's okay to disagree in the marketplace of ideas. That's exciting. But it is also important to find solutions that unify and not divide. And that's what makes a big difference between Democrats and what's in the White House now.
All right, Nancy Pelosi, a little cocky, predicting, guaranteeing, in fact, a Democratic win in the House. This election cycle, the balance of power in Congress could swing either way, though. 35 Senate seats are up for grabs. Democrats needed to win 2 to retake the Senate and pick up 23 additional seats in the House to get control there. Here with the key to the races, the editor-at-large for Ballotpedia and pollster at ScottRasmussen.com, Scott Rasmussen, and senior elections analyst at Real Clear Politics, Sean Trende, which is a great name for a political analyst. All right, Sean, we've seen wave elections in the past, 94, 2006. Do you... Historically, are you getting those signals that you're seeing, a 40, a 50, a 60 seat Democratic wave in the House?
Well, like they say, there's a reason we hold the election. So we'll only have to wait about 48 more hours now. But look, you look at the generic ballot, it has Democrats up 7.5 points, and Republicans traditionally, they're not always, overperform it. You look at enthusiasm, Republicans and Democrats are about equally enthused right now. You look at party registration, there hasn't been a drop-off in Republican Party registration like you usually see in wave years. You just look at a number of factors that you expect to see in a wave year, and they don't really line up. Right. Again, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but something just seems off.
Right, it does seem off because when you have everybody on the left, the media, the Democrats, and even Colbert saying, it's a lock, and then that's what they did in 2016. So you're thinking if they were wrong in 2016, could they be wrong again, Scott?
Well, first of all, the 2016 challenge was the analysis. It wasn't really the polling data. Just everybody looked at it and said, this can't be right. There's no way Donald Trump will end up close. Right now, people have been expecting a blue wave for a very long time. And as Sean mentioned, there's some indications that maybe things are a little tighter. What is missing from this entire discussion is a 1 or 2 point swing in the turnout in either direction could have a profound impact. If it swings 1 or 2 points towards the Republicans, they could keep the House. If it swings 1 or 2 points further in the Democrats' favor, we could be looking at a 40-seat
right.
swing.
This thing is not guaranteed, right. And as you said, there's a few days left. All right, let's look at some of these Senate races, Scott. We have Arizona, Florida, Indiana, Missouri, Nevada. All of these seem very, very tight, and a lot of people are predicting the Republicans to do very well in the Senate. How do you see it?
All 5 of the toss-up races in the Senate, it wouldn't shock me if either candidate won any of the races. But when I look at it collectively, Republicans are more likely to pick up seats than to lose. I guess my best guess would be they'd net a couple. The Republican that I guess I would say has the best chance of winning right now is Martha McSally in Arizona, followed closely by Hawley in Missouri and Braun in Indiana, those last two just because the states are so heavily Republican. Rick Scott in Florida in a very competitive race, but Florida is always close, and it's not a great year to be a Republican campaigning there. Dean Heller in Nevada, He has the toughest fight he has all year. He's the only Republican running in a state, only Republican incumbent running in a state won by Hillary Clinton.
Sean, what do you think, real quick?
Yeah, I see it about the same as Scott. I think the interesting thing is that you have all these races that are on a knife's edge. They tend to fall all together in these elections because of what Scott said. If the polls are just a little bit off, it makes a big difference. It's very possible we could wake up on Wednesday and Republicans haven't moved, but I think it's also important to emphasize we could wake up Wednesday morning and Republicans have picked up 4 or 5 seats in the Senate. It's that close.
But they can't get to 60, is that right? There's no chance that Republicans are getting to 60 in the Senate, because that would change a lot of things. Or am I dreaming?
If they get to 60, I should hang up my spurs and go back to practicing law.
All right, guys, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
One of Judge Kavanaugh's accusers backtracking on her rape claim, says she made the whole thing up. Where's the media coverage on that? Next.
This is a very big night for the President of the United States. He is all in on fear and loathing.
President Trump is ratcheting up his anti-immigration rhetoric and using the White House podium to stoke fears and rally Republican voters.
Stoking fear, anger, and anxiety, President Trump is going to new extremes to rile up white voters in red state America.
Just a few days to go, and the liberal media switching into high gear with its verbal attacks against President Trump. Joining me now to debate, conservative commentator Rob Smith and liberal commentator Kathy Aru. All right, guys, so this is just breaking. One of the women who accused Kavanaugh of rape, her name Judy Monroe Lighton, she was just, investigated, and it turns out she made the whole thing up and admitted to making the whole thing up and wasted everybody's time. Grassley sent investigators to talk to her, and she said, I did it because I just wanted to draw attention to the issue, and I lied. I don't see the media making any noise about this, Kathy. Why do you think that is?
Well, I'm glad the media is not making any noise because Kavanaugh doesn't need the media to make more noise about these things. So,
but don't you think, to be fair, they should go back and they should say, you know what? This is a woman that came forward with a false rape claim and put it in the context of the entire hearing. Because there were also a lot of other false rape claims, too. Remember with Avenatti's people?
But we don't need to hear that.
But you do need to hear that. They spent so much time on all of these other claims that were out there. Just an onslaught of story after story. It was a waste of everybody's time.
It was, and
but they need to give this accuser backtracking the same amount of time that they gave to all the other
Kavanaugh does not need that. No. I don't think so. Let it go.
Let it go?
Absolutely.
Okay, now you want to let it go.
No, I said Dr. Ford should not have been given so much attention. I thought Kavanaugh should have been just let in.
But I think that a lot of people that were unsure about that in the first place, that were made to feel bad because they weren't sure, need this to be out there so that they can feel a little bit more confident. And hey, maybe
we don't need to divide the country more.
Well, okay, Kathy, speaking of dividing the country, a poll just came out. Has the national news media done more to unite or divide the country since Trump took office? 64% said there are dividers. And then they did the same question with Donald Trump, and it turns out the media is viewed as more divisive than Donald Trump by the American people.
Absolutely.
Can you believe that?
No, I can.
That's not what the media's been saying.
Well, the thing about it is that the media is drunk on the president. They are drunk on Donald Trump. Anything that they can possibly say to make this administration appear negative or racist or anything like that, they go for it. And so often, a lot of these social media platforms, they are used to put forth information that is just not true or that's misreported. That has happened over and over and over again.
And social media. He gets drunk off of it.
So everyone's drunk. The whole country's drunk.
Everybody's drunk.
And Trump is the one at the very top. Yeah, he's leading it.
What do you make of the fact that the American people, after 2 years of this nonsense, and after the media saying that Trump is the divider in chief, they are the ones viewed as the divisive ones?
Trump is controlling the media.
This is a Politico poll.
I know.
This is not a fake news poll.
I know. But Trump is like their puppets, and he's pulling those strings. I think Trump is wonderful at controlling the media. He's the president.
Control him. The media has Trump derangement syndrome, and I think it is terminal. I think that they want to push out anything that is negative about this person because they know it gets clicks.
No, he's amazing at driving the message. He's amazing at putting that fear out. And then the confidence.
Absolutely.
He's a master. He's a master.
Just the last week, the media lectured everybody on divisive rhetoric and violence and racism. And then literally a week later, Jane Fonda called Trump Hitler. Alec Baldwin punched someone in the face, and then CNN says white men are the biggest threat to America. I mean, do they look in the mirror?
Yeah,
they don't look in the mirror.
From an anchor that's partnered with a white man, but that's neither here nor there.
Again, Trump has never said anything that's divisive or negative about minorities.
Well, you know what, Kathy? We got to go. Thank you very much. Coming up, last call. Don't miss it.